Hey kids, are you enjoying your summer so far? Even though you're on summer break and having fun with your families, it's still important to continue reading and learning new words while you're not in school. So let's go over some fun new terminology to exercise that big brain of yours. Our first word is scintillating. Scintillating is an adjective and it describes something that is brilliantly clever, exciting, or interesting. For example, I had a scintillating conversation with my mom the other day about where her ancestors came from.
Hey guys, it's me, Scott. Today I'm at Bok Tower Gardens in Lake Wales with Kathy Houston, the coordinator of the Children's Garden. Kathy is here to tell us all about what makes the Children's Garden one of the best spots for kids to play in Polk County. So Kathy, can you describe what makes the Children's Garden so special?
Well, here at Bok Tower Gardens, the Children's Garden is a place where kids can use their imagination, they can play instruments, use our art supplies and display their artwork, and we have costumes on our stage for them to put on plays. We have spider climbs and so many things where kids not only get to have fun and play, but fall in love with nature and just connect with the earth.
Why is it important for kids to connect with nature?
Well, Edward Bok, back in 1928, he's the fella that made this lovely gardens and built this amazing tower. He wrote a letter to Calvin Coolidge, who was the president of that time, and he gave him 4 points to talk about. And the first paragraph, Edward Bok tells President Coolidge, "We live in an electrified era, and I am making this garden as a place where people can get in touch with their inner selves and get back in touch with nature." And although the Children's Garden's a new kid on the block, we've only been here 2 years, it really harmonizes with Edward Bok's legacy, and it just brings me great joy that kids can come here and experience this wonderful place to play.
Can you talk about some activities or things to do at the Children's Garden?
Well, as I mentioned, we do have art, costumes, lots of creative play, but we also have areas like the Back in Time Garden that have an old-fashioned water pump, and it has a Seminole chickie and an area where they can make mud pies, or should we say really coquina pies, here in Central Florida. And then we have a fairy house trail area where we encourage kids to use natural materials to make their own fairy houses, to draw fairies to our garden. We have lessons on nature. When you're playing in the sand pit, look around you and there's an indigo snake that you're playing in the middle of. Go throughout the garden and you'll find the gopher tortoise and his friends through sculptures, through paintings, and you may see some of his friends here, perhaps a black racer or even a bunny hopping by. So there's lots of fun. There's imaginative games that happen, capture the flag, pretending like you're in territorial Florida times. It's just a great place.
What are some rules that kids should keep in mind when they visit?
Yes, we have safety guidelines, and our main safety guidelines are that that you don't climb on the high rocks. If the rocks are higher than your head, you could fall, and we want to send you home as smart and beautiful as you are right now. Also, this is a tough one, but the trees, even though the trees look like awesome for climbing, we also like to have shade under our trees. So that can mean a good climbing branch really is a place to sit underneath. And if you fell from that climbing branch, you could get hurt on the benches below. So no high rocks and no trees. But we supply you with the spider climb, the fox den, and the bobcat scramble if you love to climb and jump. And we also we have relaxing hammocks here, 2 at a time, and rock gentle like a baby. And really about other than that, we have lots of ways to explore and to really stretch your boundaries and to find your own way.
Does the Children's Garden have any activities where I could cool off if I get too hot during the summer months?
Oh, well, it's especially good in the summer because we have water features. Not only do we have the water pump in the Back in Time Garden, but we have the river walk where fountains will spray back and forth and you have lots of room to play and to get nice and wet and cool off in this hot sun.
So Kathy, why is Bok Tower Gardens a special place for the whole family to enjoy?
Well, The children's garden is great for families because not only is it giving space for the kids to play, but it also is giving a place for grandma, grandpa, mom and dad to cool off under this amazing oak canopy and just relax for a bit. And even though this garden, the children's garden, is so fantastic, when you mention going to the tower and feeding those fish and seeing the things you want to see, your kids always jump right into well, sometimes they're sad to leave the children's garden, but it's a great place. There's things, we have our cafe, we have our gift shop. In the fall, we'll have our new visitor center with informational display. It's great for families. And the children's garden, a great place to be cool while your kids have fun.
What are some cool upcoming events that I can look forward to?
Well, every Saturday we have our discovery card out with the hands-on materials to learn more about the goal or the appreciation of nature. And we also have events that can run throughout our fall and through our spring when it's a little cooler that include kids cooking classes, kids movement classes, and other events for the family. To learn more about our events, go to boktowergardens.org.
So it sounds like if I visit the children's garden, I can look forward to really exploring nature.
Well, Bok Tower Gardens Children's Garden is a place where kids can get dirty, explore nature on their own terms, and from a kid's eye view.
Well, Kathy, thank you so much for teaching us a little bit about the children's garden at Bok Tower Gardens.
Well, thank you so much in coming to visit us today. I hope you had fun exploring the children's garden and getting in touch with nature.
I can't wait to bring my mom and dad with me for a visit. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Alyssa. Today we're here at Exploration 5 Children's Museum in downtown Lakeland. This is Layla. She's going to be helping us with our experiment today. So, Layla, what are we going to be doing?
Today we're talking about back to school snacks. And in the month of August for our Kitchen Kids program, we wanted to introduce the classic snack. And we did a survey in the museum and all the kids, the majority of the children in the survey said their favorite was peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay.
Peanut butter and jelly.
I love peanut butter jelly.
I do too.
Yeah.
And there's 3 ingredients to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
The first is you need bread.
Yeah.
The second ingredient you're going to need is jelly.
Jelly.
Right.
Peanut butter or jelly.
Peanut butter or jelly. And the third ingredient is, of course,
Peanut butter.
peanut butter. And everybody likes peanut butter, or most people like peanut butter. And it's been around for over 100 years.
That's really interesting.
I thought so too.
Yes.
All right, so what we're gonna do is I also want to introduce to you a few alternatives
Okay.
to the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
All right, so here we have our rice cakes.
Okay.
Peanut butter is fun on rice cakes as well.
Okay.
All right, and we also have what is our traditional white bread. And this is always a fun one to do with peanut butter and jelly, is we call them sushi rolls.
Sushi rolls. Okay.
You roll them up and then you cut them and they look just like sushi rolls. And they're always fun for kids.
Yeah. Well, in my house, instead of calling them fold over, we like to make a little fun word and we call it the bulldozer because it kind of looks like a bulldozer.
It does.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And so when we make the bulldozer, it's literally just a peanut butter jelly sandwich and we fold it in half and then bite into it. I like to bite into the folded side. A lot of other people like to bite into the non-folded.
Well, why don't we do it? Let's make
Okay.
it. All right.
Okay. So we need.
This one's already started.
Okay, that one's already started. So I'll do the jelly.
All right. You know what? I might do the peanut butter and cream cheese fold over.
Okay. Sounds interesting. I've never tried cream cheese with peanut butter. I feel like that would be weird, but I'm trusting you. Trusting you. Should
You know,
be good.
I tried it one time and it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was introduced by a man named Brian Lacey, and it's delicious.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm done.
All right.
Okay.
And you want the middle or the end?
Whatever you want. I'm gonna take the middle.
I'll take the end.
Okay.
All right. Super good.
They're really good.
Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk, we're gonna make some alternative.
Okay.
We're gonna do the sushi roll up.
Okay.
The sushi roll. All right.
So how do you do this? Do you just go all over?
You know what? I think I'm gonna just start from the middle and go out.
Okay. I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just cut 5 slices.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, sushi, and now I'm gonna.
So is this enough peanut butter or?
I think that looks good.
Okay.
All right, let's see what my
Okay.
sushi banana Nutella roll looks like.
That's very
It
interesting.
looks delicious.
I'm gonna roll mine up.
Mmm.
There,
Very
put it
yummy,
right
too.
there. I'm gonna roll mine up. Okay. I'm interested to see how this looks like because I rolled it. So this is just plain bread because, yeah. I'm gonna cut it right here. And let's see what ours looks like.
Yours looks delicious too.
Yes.
How does it taste?
Mm.
All right, I'm making that one next.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, Layla. That was fun. If you want to get your senses into Overdrive, come here to Exploration 5 Children's Museum in downtown Lakeland. Bye, everyone. See you again soon.
Bye.
Hey kids, welcome to another segment of Arts and Crafts. This month, we're learning about a method of painting called Pointillism. Two French artists, Georges Seurat and Paul Signac, developed Pointillism in the late 1800s. The technique involves painting using only carefully placed dots of color. You could use small, fine dots of paint or larger dots to get a rougher effect. The theory was that the viewer's eye would blend the dots of color on a pointillist painting and create a more striking image. The common way people used to paint at this time was to blend colors on a palette and use conventional brushstrokes. So this was an important revolutionary technique that actually started a whole new movement of painting. Here are some examples of paintings using the pointillism technique. Hey, those were some impressive examples. Now let's try out pointillism for ourselves with our craft of the day. We're going to need some paper and markers, any color you'd like. Traditionally, artists use the pointillist technique with oil paints, but I chose markers because they make it easier to control the size of each dot. This craft is pretty easy because there's really no wrong way to do it. As long as you stick to the dotting technique, you're all set. You can follow along with me or just use your imagination to create your own masterpiece. Hey, look at that! You did it! I hope you enjoyed learning about pointillism with me. I'll see you next time for more arts and crafts.
Are you ready for our second word of the day? The word panacea is a noun which refers to a cure that will fix everything about a situation. Panacea was actually the Greek goddess of healing, and back in the Middle Ages, there were people who spent their whole lives trying to find or create the elixir of life, which would be a cure for death itself. Nowadays, the word is typically used in a sarcastic or critical manner because there really is no such thing as a cure for all your problems. For example, my dad believes that chicken soup is a panacea for all of life's problems. Or, can someone please give me a panacea for my broken heart?
Hello, and welcome to Storytime. On today's show, we're going to talk about a special kind of story, a news story. Now, news stories or articles are true stories written by journalists. A journalist is someone who collects information, usually by interviewing people, and puts the information together into a story. What sort of information? I'm glad you asked. Let's watch a television journalist read a story, and then we'll break it down.
Every year, Mary Ann Baxter runs a lemonade stand during her family's yard sale. The goal is to make a little extra money for herself, but this year is different. This year, Mary Ann has decided to send the money she makes from the lemonade stand to her pen pal, Ricardo, in Puerto Rico. Mary Ann learned in her texts with Ricardo that he and his family lost everything they had during Hurricane Maria. The lemonade will flow Saturday morning from 8 to 11 at Mary Ann's home on Pine Street in Bartow. She will operate the stand until she's out of supplies. Last year's lemonade stand made about $75. Mary Ann is hoping that this year she can make more to send to her friend, Ricardo.
Now then, all good news stories contain what are known as the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. Let's listen to the story again to see if we can identify the different elements.
Every year, Mary Ann Baxter.
That's right. In this story, Mary Ann is the who.
Mary Ann Baxter runs a lemonade stand.
That's right. In this story, the lemonade stand is the what.
During her family's yard sale. The goal is to make a little extra money for herself, but this year is different. This year, Mary Ann has decided to send the money she makes from the lemonade stand to her pen pal, Ricardo, in Puerto Rico. Mary Ann learned in her texts with Ricardo that he and his family lost everything they had during Hurricane Maria.
That's right. In this story, raising money for Ricardo and his family is the why.
The lemonade will flow Saturday morning from 8 to 11.
You guessed it. In this story, the when is the time of the yard sale.
At Mary Ann's home on Pine Street in Bartow.
Right again. In this story, the where is the location of the yard sale, or, in this case, Mary Ann's address.
She will operate the stand until she's out of supplies. Last year's lemonade stand made about $75. Mary Ann is hoping that this year she can make more to send to her friend, Ricardo.
Now, before we go, one more thing about news stories or articles. A journalist decides whether a story is newsworthy. News stories have to be interesting, not just to the person it's about, or even to the journalist. A news story is newsworthy when it's interesting or different enough to be of interest to the general public. Now, would Mary Ann's lemonade stand be interesting to anyone else if she were keeping the money herself to buy roller skates? Probably not. But the fact that she's donating the money to a family in need, in a place that has to deal with hurricanes the way Florida does, well, that's much more interesting, isn't it? Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Storytime.
Thank you.
Oh!
Our third word of the day is a fun one. Octothorpe is a noun, and it's the proper name of the hashtag symbol. The word octothorpe was first used by telephone workers in the 1960s. There are many theories about how the word was invented. One story says that the word was created based on someone's idea that the hashtag symbol looked like a village surrounded by 8 fields. The prefix octo refers to 8, and the second part of the word thorpe is an Old Norse word that means village.
Hey kids, it's me again, and we're here at Mary Holland Park in Bartow. It's time to power up. You guys remember these blocks, right? Well, we're going to use them again because you can use them inside and outside. I'm going to roll the dice, and it's going to tell me how many to do of each activity. You do them with me. Let's get started. you want to enjoy a beautiful day outside, make sure to tell your parents to bring you to Mary Holland Park in Bartow. Maybe you can make some dice and bring them with you. I'll see you next time on Power Up.
All right, it's time for our last term of the day. The word petrichor is a noun, which refers to the smell of the earth after it rains. The term was invented in 1964 by two Australian researchers who worked on finding out why the earth produces that distinctive smell after rainfall. They found out that during dry periods, plants produce a particular kind of oil that's absorbed by soil and rocks. During rain, the oil is released into the air, which produces the unique odor known as petrichor. The word is made up of two parts, the Greek word petra, which means stone and refers to the earth, and the Greek word ichor, which refers to the fluid that flows through the veins of Greek gods, and in this case would symbolize the rain. I hope you've had fun learning some new unique vocabulary words with me. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and I'll see you next time for more terminology.